This is National Educational Television.
A knife can be a plaything in the hands of one boy, or a knife can be a convincer in the hands of another. It depends on the world about you. We'll examine this world of the delinquents, their way of life, now, as we put the searchlights on juvenile delinquency. Searchlights on Delinquency, a blueprint for action, prepared under the supervision of the Sheriff's Office of Cook County, Illinois, and featuring the nationally known criminologist and Sheriff of Cook County, Joseph D. Lohman. Tonight's guest on the culture of delinquency, Dr. Lloyd E. Olin, Professor of Sociology and Criminology at the New York School of Social Work, Columbia University. Sheriff Lohman.
Let's turn now, for a moment, to an examination through the eyes and the experience of a young man who lived on the other side of the law of this world of delinquency. He is necessarily anonymous, as you will see. He's being interviewed by Captain Richard Boone of the Sheriff's Juvenile Bureau.
I understand you were busted or arrested for using a gun, is that right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Did you start out by using a gun? Was this the first and the last, or did you come up through the ranks?
No, sir, I first started by joining a gang.
A gang?
Yes, sir.
How did you get into the gang? Where was the gang?
Well, when I was about 12 years old, I moved into this new neighborhood. And when I came there, I had a pretty bad reputation to start with as a tough guy. And it was pretty easy to get in the gang. As a matter of fact, 2 or 3 days after I'd been in the neighborhood, I was approached by 2 or 3 boys on the subject.
Where did you get that reputation?
Well, through parental school, juvenile.
These were institutions that you were in?
Yes, sir.
Didn't they help you at all?
Well, they taught me more about crime than anything else, that's all.
Well, tell me a little bit about that. These places are supposed to do something for you.
Well, it all depends how you mean that.
Well, I'm asking you.
Well, I'll tell you. When I first went in there, it was like, well, going back home. When I entered there, I seen a lot of my old buddies that I'd seen on the streets, who I'd run around with, who I fought. And, well, they'd been more experienced than I was, and they taught me.
Is that the reputation you carried to the gang?
Yes, it was, in general.
And how old were you then?
About 12.
What did you do in that gang? You were pretty young.
Well, at first I was more or less a sidekick, but after I was on the gang a couple of months, I became a regular member. Through street fights and regular jams that we had with each other.
What do you mean jams?
Well, street fights. Different gangs. They come into our neighborhood and we beat them up any way we could.
Kids got hurt.
Oh, yes.
Was this fun?
To us it was, yeah. We got a lot of kicks out of doing it.
Didn't you think there was anything wrong with this sort of thing?
No. I can't see anything wrong with beating up other guys or defending yourself when necessary.
You wanted to be a part of this then?
Yes, that was the right thing to do.
What about the kid who wasn't a part of something like this in that neighborhood?
They were just a bunch of squares, that's all.
Squares?
Yeah, they weren't in the know.
And they got hurt?
Yes.
Did you steal anything during that time?
Well, when I first joined the gang, I started stealing bicycles and selling them to a fence.
Fence? You were
Yes.
pretty young to know what a fence was, weren't you?
Well, when I went to juvenile and parental, guys tipped me off who was buying stuff. When I first joined the gang, a couple of them knew a couple of fences, and I used them.
Did you get very much from the fence?
Well,
Pardon me, what did you fence to him?
Well, mostly the bicycles. I got $10 for a new one and $5 for an old one.
How long did you deal with those fellows?
Almost 3 years.
They took you for quite a bit, didn't they?
Yes, but I got quite a bit out of it, too.
And when did you get busted?
Well, I first got busted was in '48. I stole an automobile and was caught.
And you went to an institution?
Yes, I went to county jail.
Well, you already been in 2 institutions before that. How was the county jail?
Well, again, much the same as before. When I went in there, I had a lot of friends. In fact, when I come in, they all started waving at me, say hello, pat me on the back.
It's kind of a society.
Oh, in its own, yes.
What happened to you there? What did you learn? Did you learn anything that could help you?
Well, in crime, yes.
In crime?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Well, I learned to play cards, shoot dice better, handle myself better in the fight, how to use a knife faster, how to shift it from one hand to the other as to decept your opponent.
Well, now, there are people who are trying to run these places where they just sitting aside and watching you learn all these things so that you could hurt people on the outside.
Well, I'll tell you, one time a guard, he was telling me how to handle a gun faster even, how to draw it faster.
This was your training.
Yes.
Did you like these guys you were living with in there?
Sure, I had a lot of fun. As I say, I felt at home with them.
How long were you there that time?
I was in the county jail the first time for about 4 weeks waiting trial, and then I got 1 year probation.
When you got out of the county jail, what happened to you? How old were you when you got out of the county jail?
I was 15 years old.
What happened to you?
Well, I made a contact in the jail, and when I got out, we joined forces and we started our own crime spree.
You started your own crime spree.
Yes,
What did you start in?
Well, armed robbery mostly. This one fellow figured I was pretty sharp. I could keep calm in a...
Did you get away with it?
Well, for a while, and then we got caught.
What did you get caught on?
Well, it's a strange thing. We pulled a lot of big things, and then we got caught for a $12 stick-up.
What happened on that stick-up?
Well, it was after one of our jobs, which we didn't get caught on, and I saw this man and woman coming down the street, and just for kicks, I said, let's hold them up. And my buddy said, okay, let's go. So I went up in front of him and pulled a gun on him. I told him if he moved, I'd kill him.
Would you have killed him if he moved?
Yes, I would have.
How much did you get on that robbery?
Only $12.
He would have killed him, just like that. He learned, and he learned, and he learned. And it was exciting. And there were many there. He was not alone. And many others were learning as he was learning. They were all solving problems, common problems, alike one unto the other. And in that common experience, they were building something. They were reinforcing each other's experiencing. And they were also handing on something of each other to the other. And then handing it on and on and on. And there was a residue. There was something left. It was a culture, a world of delinquency.